So it's been 3 years now since we built this deck, and the video I published 3 years ago turns out to be very popular on YouTube. I think we've about 400,000 views on it. So I guess it might be good to give everybody an update on how the deck has held up over the last 3 years. And the good news is that actually it's held up really well. We've had no leaks at all from the roof. The roof has remained completely watertight for the last 3 years. This is despite the fact that here in Ireland we get a hell of a lot of rain. Also, we had Hurricane Ophelia last October, I believe it was, which had the strongest winds seen in Ireland for about 20 years. And again, no problem. The structure held up fine. We had snow here a few weeks ago, which is very unusual in this part of the country. We had about a foot, 30 centimetres of snow on the roof, and everything was just fine. The roof held up no problem. So the construction of the deck has proved itself over time. And today actually is an excellent demonstration of why this deck is so useful for us. Outside at the moment, the temperature is 10 degrees Celsius, which is, I guess, for our American cousins, about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's too cold really to be outdoors. And if the covers around this deck, that's the transparent windows you see there in front of me, if those were not there, this deck would be at about 10 degrees. But actually, we can see on the thermometer up here on the wall that it's almost 25 degrees. It's 24.3 degrees here. I don't know if you can see that. So that means that we can really use this deck. Can you see it? I hope you can. Yeah, there we are. We can use this deck today to sit out. It's very comfortable at 24 degrees. What's that? That's about, let's see, double is 48 plus 30, about 78 Fahrenheit, I believe, which obviously is very comfortable. So this deck allows us to make use of the garden at times of the year, like now it's April, so spring and autumn, when normally it would be much too cold to sit outside. So the covers are great. Another great use of this deck is I can use it as a greenhouse for those are my tomato plants. So I sowed those seeds about I guess a month ago. And as you can see, my tomato crop is looking very healthy, and later on I'll be moving those tomatoes out there to my polytunnel greenhouse, call it whatever you want. One of the regular users of our deck is Misty, the dog. Misty is a grand old lady. She'll be 15 years later this year, and she really enjoys the fact that it keeps her warm on cooler days. Down here she's got a little flap, a little dog flap that we built, so she can go in and out there whenever she wants, and the flap otherwise keeps the breeze out and makes things a bit more comfortable for us. The garden is kind of mucky at the moment, so that's why there's so much muck on the floor here, because the dog brings muck in and out from the garden. But once the weather dries up a bit, we will clean up the deck here. We can wash these deck boards and get the muck up. We put in some low voltage lights. I don't know if you can see them here. That's one of them. So these are little LED lights. They operate on about 10 volts, I think. I didn't want to put mains voltage lights on these. So I have 4 of them, by the way, spaced around there. I didn't want to put mains voltage lights on the deck roof here, because if I did get a leak, you'd have water running over high voltage mains cables. So instead, in this box here, there's the box is a sealed unit, and there is a transformer in there that transforms the 240 volt mains voltage down to the 10 volts that the LED lights use. And also we've got a little dimmer switch here on the cover of the box, so we can switch on and off those. It's a great place for growing plants here. We grow cucumber every year in this corner. So there's a string there. I don't know if you can see that string. So that's what we use to attach the cucumber. Climbs up that string. Oh, look, we've got a visitor. There's a snail here. Hope you guys aren't put off by snails. But anyway, we allowed the cucumber, that you can see the remains of last year's cucumber is still on the string. But every year we grow a single cucumber plant in this corner, and it thrives in here. And normally you could not grow cucumber outdoors in Ireland. The weather is not warm enough. But the cucumber plant grows all the way up there to the top, which is, I guess, about 8 feet, 2.5 meters from the floor, and then it continues along here, and usually it gets all the way over as far as there, and we get about 40 cucumbers off it, which is, so it's excellent to be able to grow something in here. And also obviously it's a bit of decoration, a nice bit of greenery in the summer is really good. We do get a bit of green algae growing on the outside of the polycarbonate roof. I don't know if you can see it, there's a small bit of it there. Now that washes off, it's only on the outside, and it's just because we have a damp climate. The roof is kind of damp all through the winter, but it washes off very easily with a long car brush, so you can kind of stand up on a ladder on the outside and just wash the roof with a long reach car brush, and it's no problem to remove that. The PVC covers have held up really well to the weather. As I say, it's 3 years now since these went up, and they look good as new. There's no weathering. They seem to be able to resist, the UV light, etc. What you might notice at the front here of the roof, you will see, we might get a better shot of it from the other side, but the very edge of the sheets, these are multi-wall polycarbonate sheets, but the very edge has wicked water, so you've got like a couple of inches of water has been sucked back up into the sheets, and it kind of lies there. It's not really visible from inside in the deck because of the overhang, but it is visible from the outside. It's been there more than 2 years now, and it doesn't appear to cause a problem. The sheets still, the roof, there's no leakage down into the deck or anything. It's just a small amount of water that's kind of held there in the roof sheets. The roof obviously drips onto the ground here, so to avoid the drip basically excavating a trench in the ground here, I've put this line of concrete slabs all the way along the bottom of the front of the deck, and the roof water drips down onto those slabs instead. Now you do get a bit of splashback. You can see it there on the end of the cover. So when there's been heavy rain, as we've had in the last few days, you do get a little bit of splashback onto the cover, but it's not excessive, and it's easy enough to clean. Like, we maybe give that a clean once a month, and it's plenty. So all in all, everything is going well with this deck. In the summer we're able to zip up these covers, which is completely necessary, because on a warm day in the summer, if all of the covers were down and the doors were closed, the temperature in the deck would be higher than 40 Celsius, which is about 110 Fahrenheit. So yeah, we're able to zip up these covers and tie them up using those clips that you can see up at the top there, which is essential in the summer for keeping it ventilated and stop the temperature from rising too much. So that's it. As you can probably gather, we're really happy with our deck project. It allows us to use this deck at times of the year when we would otherwise never be out in the garden. So it's really extended our ability to be outdoors without being really, really outdoors, if you know what I mean. So thanks for watching. And if you're considering building something like this and you live in a place where spring and autumn are kind of cool like they are here, I'd highly recommend that you give it a go.